What is up, everybody? Welcome to Eagles Postgame Live. The Eagles get the W 17-16. Oh my gosh, Jalen Hurts is him. We're going to break down everything we saw from Jalen Hurts. Jonathan Gannon's defense, well, after the first possession, Jonathan Gannon's defense, that absolutely was terrific. And all the terrible, dumb mistakes the rest of the Eagles team made throughout this one. We're breaking it down. Player of the game, you name it. My man, Matty B, you know him from Clear the Ice and pretty much every other Phillies postgame show of Edge of Philly Sports. What is up, Matty B?
It's going on. It's a good day to be here. Got to sweat that one out a little bit, but, Quez Watkins redeemed himself from his earlier mistake last week. So it doesn't really matter how you start. It just matters how you finish. So I'll take the W.
Yeah, there's so much to break down in this one. Feeling much better than I did literally just before that drive. But let's jump right into Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts finished this one 190 yards passing, 86 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, 107.1 quarterback rating. That last drive where he ran right up the middle of the field for a touchdown, game on the line, facing all the drops from the Eagles receivers, facing all the dumb mistakes and the play calling and the penalties. Oh my God, the penalties from everyone else on this Eagles offense. This was arguably one of Jalen Hurts' best games for all the adversity he had to face across everything, whether that was Dallas Goedert's absence, because that had such an impact on their RPOs, their third and shorts, their fourth and shorts. Him not being in this game was such a cluster F within the wrinkle of the offense. What were your thoughts on Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts continues to prove me wrong. I was not on the Jalen Hurts train to start the season, but he has done, I think, enough to start getting me to kind of start paying attention to him. He's a franchise quarterback. I'll give him that. You're right, Dibes. The mysteries abounding around what's going on with A.J. Brown lately. He had the turnover today, and he was on the sideline a lot. So A.J. Brown was not a part of his arsenal. Devontae Smith had a good game. I mean, Jalen did what he had to do. Jalen produced. Jalen made something out of nothing, and he continues to impress the heck out of me. And that, sometimes the yards don't really say it more than what inside the game, inside the numbers have it. So outstanding effort from Jalen Hurts today. Outstanding.
Yeah, there were so many plays. We're going to talk about the positives to start this show because there's a lot of negatives. We're already getting comments here. Edge of Philly Sports says, I wonder if the Giants fans will be pounding their chest this week like last game. Sean says, what's up, guys? Nick Sirianni is a joke. Quentin Moore, my man, says Shane Steichen tried to lose this game. The play calling was poor. We're going to get into all that, but Jalen Hurts did it again. We saw a lot more design runs from Jalen Hurts. We basically saw Jalen Hurts take this team and put the offense on his back. That's essentially what this second half offense was. It's really, truly impressive. Even still, like the Eagles offense was getting yards. They just weren't getting points. And a lot of that was whether it was like the A.J. Brown fumble but this has been kind of the growing trend these last 2 weeks is the drops and the bad penalties. Like the Eagles finally cross into enemy territory, back-to-back penalties. It's stupid things like that. But yeah, I was just blown away by Jalen Hurts. I agree, Matty B. I was not the biggest Jalen Hurts supporter. Man, that guy is making me look stupid today because I thought this was arguably his best performance, not just the season, but his career for everything that uphill climb he had to face in this one.
Yeah, no, and it's not going to be 365 yards, 3 touchdowns every week. It's sometimes you got to you take what the defense gives you. Sometimes you got to battle through the refs. Sometimes you got to battle through turnovers, and you got to do what you got to do at the end to win. And God knows that the Eagles did everything they possibly could to not allow Jalen Hurts to win, but he overcame a lot of that. And I know we're going to talk about the play calling and all that, but Dibes, 4th and 10. Are you going for that in any Euro football? I mean, come on, man. That's so you're gonna have to try to sell me on that one a little bit. But and stuff like that, he still overcame that. He overcame his head coach. He overcame his head coach once again, not using Miles Sanders. It was a one-dimensional attack, or two-dimensional if you want to consider Jalen Hurts as the running attack. But I mean, he did what he had to do and he picked the team up on his back, and that's what good franchise quarterbacks do. And when things are not working out, they become the X factor, and that's what he did today.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many mistakes. Not defense. We're going to get into defense right after this because I'm going to go off on a defense in a positive way. I thought the defense was sensational. But we're going to talk about some of these play calls that were absolutely terrible, Maddie. Like you're moving the ball down the field, and your red zone threat is back-to-back runs with Boston frickin' Scott. What are we doing here? Like, there's little things like that absolutely made me nuts. Grant Calcaterra had a bad holding penalty in the first half. Devontae Smith had a bad drop on 3rd and long. I already mentioned the back-to-back penalties there. You had the A.J. Brown fumble. Again, 3 red zone runs to Boston Scott with the game on the line. That time management from Nick Sirianni was laughable. Absolutely laughable. There were just a myriad of mistakes. It didn't matter in the end because I thought Jalen Hurts said no. He looked right at Shane Steichen and said, "I'm the captain now," and just basically put the ball in his hands. And that's what great franchise quarterbacks do.
I agree. And that's exactly what he did today. He overcame all the obstacles and adversity that were given to him, to include those by his own team. And he willed them the victory. And you got to hats off to Jalen Hurts. Hats off to him today. Best. You're right. I think it might be the best performance of his career. And I've been saying that a lot this year about Jalen Hurts week to week. Wow, that's the best performance I've ever seen. And he continues to make a believer out of me as we move through this season. And the defense, as you mentioned a little bit, Dives. I'm not feeling the front. Jonathan Taylor, almost 100 yards rushing. I know it wasn't like lightning out there, but there was still too many drives prolonged by the run. We got to get this thing figured out up front. I'm not really feeling it. Other than that, you're right. The defense did play better. Secondary got picked on a little bit by a dinosaur in Matt Ryan. So it lives there, but yeah, overall they did what they had to do, and they overcame again the adversity of. We've been waiting to see this team deal with adversity. Last 2 weeks they've been dealing with it, and so far so good.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Before we get into the defense, let's get some more comments here. 16 points is what a good defense does. Yeah, this game was all about the Eagles defense, which we'll talk about in a second. If anybody's out there complaining about Jonathan Gannon, we're gonna go. Not on Twitter, because I hate Twitter. I can't stand Twitter. But I have a hard no on debating on Twitter because there's no such thing. Kumar says, "Are we playing against Vegas spreads? You bet on the game." Oh, they're just talking. New guys already helping out. Sue and Joseph were outstanding. And I'm going to show you why.
Sack. Didn't they have a combined sack today?
They had a combined sack in the second half. That was so good. But let's look at this. Here is the Eagles. Sorry. Well, I guess the Eagles defense here against the Indianapolis Colts on first down. After the first series, truly, the Eagles defense took this team, especially the run game, out of it completely. You look at the first 5 plays, they're all runs on first down. Oh, getting some echo. Hold on. Can you mute for a second? Check. All right. You look at this. Basically, they got nothing on first down. Look at this. Run for after the last half of this, run for 1 yard. This is all first downs. They had a pass to Paris Campbell, run for 1 yard, run for no gain, run for -4, no gain, -1, 2, no gain, incomplete pass. That was kind of the weak spot of this Eagles defense last week was, putting the Commanders into manageable third downs. And they really did a nice job, with holding Jonathan Taylor and this run attack for the Indianapolis Colts. You look at the Colts on third down. They started really strong here in the first half, but basically were held to 2 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2 of 12 to finish this game. Other than a couple of big passes to Alec Pierce and Paris Campbell, kudos to Jonathan Gannon. The blitzes from Hassan Reddick on that 3rd and goal, the blitz on that 3rd and long by Brandon Graham absolutely were statement plays. So I'm just really happy about Jonathan Gannon's defense because I thought he did make adjustments against the Commanders. He did blitz more. In this game, I thought Howie's additions of Sue and Joseph made a huge deal because after that first series, Sue and Joseph were all over the field, everywhere. They were in the backfield, and that was, at the end of the day, it was the Eagles' defense that kind of kept them afloat in this one. What's your thoughts on the
So, here's the thing. One of the things that I've really enjoyed with the Eagles defense this year has been the opportunistic with the turnovers. Not quite there today with that, but enough. They did enough. They definitely made the adjustments from over the course of the last few weeks. We've been talking about this run stuff since, off and on since week 1. Kind of hit a crescendo against the Texans, and it's kind of, Robinson did gashes for 86 yards, but it was a real kind of a weird 86 yards. There was just a lot of extending of drives and a lot of situations where you just got enough. But so today was a game where I really wanted to see with these new additions and the adjustments and getting fancy because what do we think Sue and Joseph had left in the tank? And obviously they had quite a bit as what they were used for today. It was a nice bounce back game for them. When the offense wasn't helping them out, they had to help themselves. And I think John Gannon, I'm never ever one that's going to blame the coach. The bottom line, it's the players. I don't care what scheme they're put in. The players have to perform on the field and whatnot. I'm not going to sit here and blame the defensive coordinator. It's like blaming the assistant coach in hockey for the bad power play. He's not on the ice doing it. So I'm not going to do that for a defensive coordinator. But I think the defense stepped it up today, all in all, and I liked it. I liked what they were doing. They got creative when they had to get creative, and it seemed like he pressed all the right buttons today.
Yeah. So Joseph had 4 tackles in this one. He had a half sack with Sue. Sue had 3 tackles. Nobody had any tackles for loss in this one, but that didn't feel right. It felt like they had more than that.
It did.
Quentin says, please make a video of Sue and Joseph. I will 100% be doing that tonight. So Quentin, that is on the way. That sounds like a blast for me. Having some Tito's and making those clips. That sounds great. Kumar says, last win down by 10 in the 4th since Deshaun Jackson returned in 2010. Is that true?
It is.
Wow, that's nuts. Holy cow, that's awesome. I still remember exactly where I was for that one.
So do I.
Yep, I remember just like collapsing to my knees in my living room, just like blown away. Okay, yeah. Anyway, all right. So the Eagles defense arguably had one of their best games of the season. C.J. Gardner-Johnson led the way with 11 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. T.J. Edwards had a very good game in this one. A couple of tackles for losses. I think on one was like a pitch, and then the other one was like a screen pass. T.J. Edwards had 6 solo tackles. Who else had some plays? We already talked about Hassan Reddick and the Brandon Graham. I thought Josh Sweat, he didn't get any sacks in this one, but he was definitely making pressures. But pretty much most of that, I think, came in the second half. Like, basically, Matt Ryan was getting whatever he wanted, the ball out fast, as we expected. The pressure didn't really start until the second half when Gannon started to dial up some of those timely blitzes that we saw. That's kind of been the trend. Like, they don't really blitz at all in the first half, and then second half, we see a little bit more. What was your take?
Yeah, no, it was an ugly first half. It was like John Gannon was attempting to kind of figure out Matt Ryan a little bit more than I think he needed to be figured out. I think he allowed the offense to kind of, present itself a little bit too much more than the Eagles needed to in that first half. But you're right, he made the in-game adjustment in the second half, and they really kind of locked them down. Matt Ryan's a fraud. I mean, he's about 5 years past his expiration date, so there's no reason that you should be fearful of Matt Ryan. I don't think there is. I mean, he doesn't have much weapons on that team. Jonathan Taylor would have been my focal point, and other than that, but it looked like JG was really kind of studying the in-game attack and then trying to make his adjustments and hoping that his team could hang on. And he did. He made the proper in-game adjustments and he brought the pressure when needed. He dropped back when he needed to. They got the plays when they needed them. That's how good teams find a way to win sloppy games. And again, hats off to JG and the defense. That's absolutely.
It's awesome, man. I'm gonna put this up real quick. Do you see that? Am I sharing right now? No, I'm not sharing.
No.
Here we go.
Yeah.
This is from my man Shane. Here is the final sack here to end the game. There it is. Brandon Graham collapses
That
the
was his
pocket.
power right there. That's his power.
Oh, huge, man.
Yep.
Just watching it one more time. And what a statement win for this Eagles defense. Eagles fans are probably very confused today, not being able to complain about the defense, which they've done for a very long time. I mean, that's kind of been my take is up until this fourth quarter, Eagles offense only had 27 total points through the last 7 quarters. They had 14, almost half of that in this fourth quarter against Indianapolis. And a big chunk of that is because of Jalen Hurts and his legs and just basically just putting everyone on his back. Quentin says redemption for Brandon Graham. All right. So that's out of the way, Matty B. Here we go. All right. What is your concern level 0 to 10? 10 being shit your pants scared, 0 being you're fully confident because we've seen the last few weeks, the blueprint is out somewhat to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. It's basically run, short passes to slot receivers on third down, quick short passes on third down. I can't help but think what this Eagles team would look like if they played a somewhat competitive squad these last few weeks. Any thoughts on that?
Well, this is the teeth of the schedule. I mean, this is really the hardest part it's going to be over the next couple 3 weeks with the Packers and then the Titans instead of the Giants looming. I don't know if that's really enough to move the needle, but this is the best they're going to get, the best competition they're going to get all season coming up. My concern level overall for this team is probably around a 4.5 to a 5. I'm right there in the middle. It really, they've come out in games where they've just had their way with teams, and then they've just gone away in long stretches of time. And you mentioned the second half stuff. That's my biggest takeaway from this game. 14 second half points, man. That's like the most. That's tied for the second most output of the season. 15 is the most. This team has not been very well scoring points in the second half. Today, they weren't good at all in the first half, which is a trend that now has gone through two straight games. So I don't know. I mean, it depends on what team are we going to see. Are we going to see the 7-0 Eagles, or are we going to see the 8-0 Eagles? I'm about a halfway on right there in the middle of the road there. You can kind of also see these games as they kind of unfold, and you can also make this assessment as well as you're watching this team of what game you're going to get. I don't know. Their dives, I'm around there at a 5. I think the 16-1 nonsense has got to go away. I mean, I think this team is definitely capable of losing a lot more games, and they're also capable of running the table too. It's a very weird situation right now the team is in.
I think silver lining. I'm trying not to overreact on the offense because everything they do on offense seems to be shooting themselves in the foot, whether that's bad penalties or whether that's out of nowhere the costly giveaways, like the AJ Brown fumbled today. I think they had 4 giveaways against the Commanders last week. So I'm probably around there. I'm probably around like a 4 or so, because I do think the silver lining here is the Sue Joseph additions are going to be really important. Because if you look at the stats without Jordan Davis on the field, teams were just absolutely destroying this Eagles defense, absolutely destroying. And if this is what we should expect moving forward, the Joseph, the Joseph and Sue combo is going to be really exciting. I thought Cox had significantly better.
He did.
And he was absolutely garbage last week against.
He's been garbage all season, really. And today he showed up in a positive way. You're right. You definitely could see his presence today. I think the tight end situation for this team is really the peril right now for the offense. It was definitely on display that Jalen Hurts missed that safety valve and Dallas got it. Does Grant Kuchera have it in him to step it up? Did not have a good game today. Is this a learning lesson for him? We'll wait and see all that. But if there's anything concerning on the offensive side of the ball, it's the tight end. as you mentioned, the penalties and the turnovers. The defense is just a war of attrition right now. We can't afford to lose any more people. We got to keep who we got on the field now and hopefully get some people back soon.
Yeah, we talked about it all week. The loss of Dallas Goedert. We talked about it during the pregame, and how that would impact this Eagles offense. More so their efficiency. This team, you saw it, 3rd and short. Kenny Gainwell running the football, Boston Scott running the football. Like, that's the dynamic you miss without Dallas Goedert on the football field, because that Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert RPO, making the defense guess wrong every single freaking time is one of the biggest things this Eagles offense had going for itself. That's
Absolutely.
literally almost impossible to stop, whether Jalen Hurts keeps it, tucks and runs for a yard or two, or finds Goddard on, running a flat and finding himself for a 3-yard completion. That's not going to be there for the next few weeks. So how they survive without, Dallas Goedert and, Calcaterra's just not ready. Jack Stoll, gotta love him. He's just not. He's Jack Stoll. Is it more design runs? Is it more maybe Miles Sanders in the flat? I mean, what do we see there? You're right. Or is it Boston Scott? As you said, maybe we line up Gainwell out. We split them out. You're right. What are we going to see there? There's a void there. I think you got to spread. I think that there's got to be a change in approach. I think the Eagles need to find a change in approach and figure out a way to spread defenses a little bit better. 4 wide receiver sets to like different things like that. Get this defense going left to right versus north to south, because they don't. And here's another negative, man. I don't know what your thoughts on this, but I've been really disappointed by the play of the Eagles offensive line. It's not been good since the Houston Texans game. And this offensive line was supposed to be elite. I get the Commanders and the Colts have a great defensive line. I was boasting them up, especially the Colts. I love DeForest Buckner, all of those guys. They're terrific. They should not be getting exposed like they have been, especially these last 2 weeks. It's been not good enough. Any thoughts on this Eagles offensive line?
You mentioned it, and I'll go even further back. This offensive line hasn't played to the level of 2021 at all this season, and they've kind of went up and down a few times, but not to the level that they played last year. And you're right, in the last few weeks, it's been on the downside. Jordan Mailata looks a little lost out there. He looks a little human. He's not performing well. They're not getting a good push either when it comes to the run. They're not blowing anybody off the ball. You're absolutely right, Dives, and I'm glad somebody brought it up, because when we talk negative about Jeff Stoutland, it's like we're stabbing at the god. So it hasn't been a good performance from the offensive line, and he had the Jason Kelce fumble. What is going on there? Well, I mean, come on. But at least they got the ball back. But you're right, Dives. Maybe that's part of the vanilla plan. Maybe that's why they're not doing more spread, or why they're not doing more motion, is because of something going on with that O-line. You're right.
Yeah, that was a concern of mine heading in, because you look at DeForest Buckner and some of these other pieces of the Colts defensive line. They're fast, and that's the one thing the Eagles offensive line has historically struggled with, is speed off the edge, speed up the middle, things like that. And Jalen Hurts was on the run. let's not sugarcoat this. He was under pressure for almost 4 quarters straight in this one, and for the better part, Jalen Hurts had an answer almost every single time. There was even one play where he was under pressure, and I think it was a 3rd and long or a 4th and long, and he just threw it away, or he didn't even throw it. And kudos to Jalen Hurts for not putting his team in a worse position, because last year he probably would have
forced it,
got rid of that, and it was an interception and a big return or something along those lines.
And that's what we want to see from him, the growth of that's what a franchise quarterback does. You live to fight another day, and that's a very good thing to see him learning how to do.
If I had to find a negative about Jalen Hurts, there were a couple moments where he held the ball a little bit too long. There's no question about that. But I'm not going to complain about Jalen Hurts. I'm not. Let's go into player of the game. Wow, we're 25 minutes in already. Let's go into player of the game. You lead us off.
All right, I'm going with this is not a tongue-in-cheek. I'm dead serious. Britton Covey is my player of the game for not costing us anything on special teams, letting the ball go behind him, letting it touch back, starting the great ball off at the 25-yard line. Thank you. That was your best game of the season, and that's not tongue in cheek. I really mean that. I'm really concerned about the special teams of this team.
I even had Freddie take out special teams during today because I was like, special teams are like nothing. As long as like you don't kill yourself.
And that's what he did. He did not do anything. He didn't try to do anything, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. We have a comment here from Quinn. Hold on, I'll make sure I don't get ads on my ESPN browser here and it doesn't blare on this thing. Quinn says player of the game is Howie Roseman. It's too easy to say Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the player of the game. There's no question. But I'm gonna go. I will do it. It's either Jonathan Gannon or it's either Howie Roseman because I thought the Eagles' ability to limit the Colts on first downs, short downs with the run was absolutely everything. I mean, I'll go through the stats again for the Colts on third down. I'm going to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Out of the last 11 third downs, the Colts had 5 or more yards on basically all of them except for 2. And one of them was in the goal line. And that I think that's a big piece to Sue or a big shout out for Sue and Joseph. Those two clogging up the middle and taking out the Colts running game. I know Jonathan Taylor had 84 yards, but at least more than half of that was in the first drive alone. And after that, shut the frick down. It was awesome, man. So Jonathan Gannon's been getting a little bit of slack. I'm not a Jonathan Gannon apologist, I swear. I've destroyed that guy this season. But I feel like it was a little bit unfair last week. I feel this week he deserves a bit of a shout out. Whether that's Howie Roseman or Gannon, I don't really care. Eagles win. That's all that matters. But I'm gonna go that direction. So where do we go from here, man? Let's do final thoughts on this one before we get to plugs. Final thoughts on the game.
All right, so on this game, this was a game that the Eagles needed. They needed to find a way to win it. Obviously, coming off of that primetime disaster against the Commanders, there's some trends here that are not good. This was another bad penalty game for the Eagles. I think 7 for 55 or something like that. These last 2 weeks, Commanders Eagles have been really uncharacteristically high in the penalties. The turnover battle, they lost that again today too. Another trend that is not something I want to see continue. But this was a character win. This was a win that they didn't play their best game. That's 2 in a row. But they found a way and that was Jalen Hurts today to win this game. And that's the maturation process you want to see from your team. We got to see a little bit more from the head coach and all that. But on the field, that's where it all counts. And your quarterback, he rose above all today and said, listen, it's not going to happen today. We are going to win this game. We're coming out of here with a win. Huge Jalen Hurts statement game. Put this one on your calendar. This might be one you have to go back to and say this is the day he arrived. So
yeah, I love it. For him. I love that. Oh my God. For Matty B, that's like crazy.
Yes, huge. Huge. You have no idea.
Mark says defensive tackles stopping the run was player of the game. Quentin says Miles Sanders drawing that pass interference on that deep throw downfield. I don't know how much that was Miles Sanders or just Jalen Hurts just throwing it up there knowing he was going to get a pass interference call. One of the two, but I'm good with that because that was a big play. I believe that was like 3rd and long in that situation.
Was a 40-yard penalty. That was huge. That might have been the game right there. That was the turning point, probably.
Yeah, it might be. Final thoughts on this game. The good, Jalen Hurts is everything and more. I was dead wrong on Jalen Hurts. I came into this season 50-50, which basically labeled me as a hater, according to some on Twitter. And he's shown so much development and improvement. It's outrageous. This was a great game from Jalen Hurts. A couple of runs he had is pretty crazy. The negatives, it goes to coaching. This team for the first 7 games of this season has come out prepared. The game plan has been sensational. There's been just a veteran vibe about this team that I've been so impressed with. The last few games, it's not been there, and that needs to get better. There's too many giveaways, too many bad penalties. The play calling is atrocious. We need to see something. And to be fair, like the Dallas Goedert injury, you probably don't sell that enough, how big that is for Jalen Hurts and things like that. It doesn't matter. Like they still need to take adjustments. There needs to be a change in approach for this offense moving forward. And I hope it happens sooner than later. Get better soon, Dallas Goedert. We need to grow. And the offensive line is not good enough. Coming into this season, this was supposed to be the benchmark for the NFL, and they have not been at that level, not even near that level. So I need to see better from this Eagles offensive line. At the end of the day, a win is a win is a win is a win in the NFL. The Eagles move to 9-1 on the season. Absolutely ridiculous. They're 5-0 at home, and get ready for the Packers on, I believe, Sunday night football. The Packers are not your like mom and pop Packers. They're really struggling this week at 4-7. This is actually a home game, and the Packers are 1-4 away from Lambeau Field. So, but you never know. That's going to be a really good test because I'm really curious where this Eagles defense lies against a really good quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who could basically just pick and choose where he wants to throw that football against, the Eagles defense. Hopefully Avonte Maddox will be back soon. I don't remember what his status is moving forward, but that's my final thoughts. So let's finish it up, man. Matty B, plugs. Where can we find you? What do you got going on, man?
Yeah, all over EOP, as you mentioned. I do the Clear the Ice, the Flyers post-game show. I also do Talk Philly Sports with Matty B on EOP every Tuesday night at 9. And I also do a podcast called Talk Philly Sports with Matty B as well, available wherever you find your podcast. And be looking out on for Thanksgiving. I'll be appearing with Kyle Quinn on the Birds IQ podcast here on the EOP, as well as we're going to be doing the Fight and Spinal season in review 2022 Philadelphia Phillies season in review, also scheduled to debut on Thanksgiving. So check all that stuff out and everything else that's going on.
That's a good show to do on Thanksgiving.
Like, yeah, we're gonna
talk about like things to be thankful for, man. Oof, what a run, man. That was awesome. Steve. All right, so go check out Edge of Philly Sports, EOPsports.com, talking sports with Matty B right there, and then Clear the Ice. Check if you love Flyers, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Please check it out.
If you want. I hear you, man. The Sixers aren't much better. The Sixers aren't.
Yeah, I know. It's horrible. The
Sixers are basically in a holding pattern until a couple of players get back. It is what it is. Steven says this game might have gotten Dallas Goedert paid even more. I mean, he was playing like a top 2, 3 tight end in the league. There's no question about that. We have Colts kicker stinks. Is Scott still going to play? I absolutely hope not. Oh, he did make a play today on a third down. I got to give him credit just for a little bit. We've got a Colts fan in the house. Missed field goal is why y'all won. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the Eagles won.
This is why we lost last week. So don't give me that. Right? It's part of the game. You got to deal with it.
Yeah. And then it says leaving Sanders to block a good defensive end like Yannick was head scratching. Oh my God, how bad was that? Like let's do a deep pass downfield with Miles Sanders blocking or chipping Yannick Ngakoue. Like, what are we doing here? It's just nuts. All right. So Colts choked. Is that your take? That's nuts, bro. That is absolutely nuts if you think that's true. The Eagles shot
above their level today.
So much in this one. So much, dude. I'm sorry, but that is just crazy. Monday night, tomorrow night, Party on Broad will go live. Me and Rob will be breaking down the Eagles game a little bit more and just kind of doing our, looking into the game a little bit closer, what we liked, what we disliked. and what it all means moving forward. I have my NFL draft videos coming out today. I've got my top 10 edge rushers in the class and my top 10 interior defensive linemen rankings coming out. Both are huge needs for the Eagles, arguably top 3, both of those positions. Edge rusher wise, really, really good players to look forward to for the Eagles. I know the Saints won today. That absolutely sucks. I think they're at like pick 10 now, but it doesn't matter. Like Miles Murphy, Tyree Wilson, there's a few guys still in that range that I think would fit the Eagles perfectly. Franchise level, 3 down edge rushers that would fit beautifully opposite Josh Sweat. Interior defensive line is a little different. It's not the same. It's like you got your top 2 in Jalen Carter and Brian Breesy, and is it Breesy? Yeah, I think it's Breesy, or is it Breesy? I can't, whatever. But after that, there's a drop to like Gervin Dexter and Siaki Ika, whatever. Like, it's not. There's a massive gap. So edge rushers are where it's at in this one. So that'll be dropping very, very soon. Just want to say thank you everyone for watching. Please be sure to check out Edge of Philly Sports on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever you find your Philly sports content. Check us out here at the Painted Lines. Wherever you're watching, give this video a like. Help us out. Help us spread the word if you love the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. For Matty B, he is at Matty B at edgeofphilly.com. Is that your email address?
Yeah, I'm part of the company now, so they gave me my email address.
That's a first.
Yeah, spread the wealth, man.
I've never seen an email address on here. All right, guys,
hit me up with an email. Come on, seriously.
All right, for Matty B, for myself, for everyone that commented, thank you. Stay awesome, everyone. We'll see you next time. Go Bears.